Hi guys, and welcome back to the Mauro Brothers. Today we have a special tour. We'll be showing you the Galeón Andalucía. So let's go. Now we are on board and we will have the pleasure to have Lupo join us today.
Nice to meet you.
He's the expert of this beautiful wooden sailing ship.
Yes.
Is it a ship or a galleon?
It's a galleon, and a galleon is a type of ship.
I'm just making sure the haters are not going to hate for me calling it a ship if it's actually a galleon. Where would you like us to go first?
Probably a very good place to start is up here on the forecastle. This is the front of the ship. In features here, I'd say, are pretty much outstanding anchors.
Do you use these anchors or are they just for decoration?
The ones that we do use are these ones here.
They look massive.
420 kilos, and these are 1,100 kilos.
You must have a lever for this, right?
Well, no, we haul them up by hand with these pulleys.
Do you lift this by hand?
We lift them off the deck by hand, and then we let them go off the side.
The strongman on the ship. Okay. Do you have an estimate on how much rope you have on this ship?
Between 4 and 4.5 kilometers. Another set of anchors that we have here. So it's symmetric on both sides. Weight distribution on the ship is a very important thing because the stability is already, to be honest, bad enough as it is.
Should you be saying that?
Yeah, absolutely.
We still want volunteers to come and actually sail on this ship. So if you're interested, we're leaving all the contact and information in the description of today's video. Stability, who cares about that, you know? Ships always move.
It moves around, it moves around.
Exactly.
It's a lot of fun. This is one of the best places where you can see the bowsprit and the cut water that we have down here, because it's the part of the ship that's cutting the water pretty much.
And do you ever go onto the nest up there?
Oh, yes.
And pretend to be Jack Sparrow?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a reproduction of a capstan. Back in the day, this is what they would have used as a crane.
Yeah.
So they would wrap ropes around it, insert wooden beams in here, and you'd have guys walking around pushing
it, I understand.
and wrapping it around.
Do you know how much tons could have been put in?
This
a rough
one,
estimate?
about between 400, 500 tons, yeah.
Jeez.
Tons is a very rough term because the tons from the 1600s aren't the same as tons that we think of today, as in 1,000 kilos. The tons of back in the day were actually barrels. So 1 ton was 1 large barrel.
Okay.
It comes from the word tonel in Spanish. So it's 400 toneles, which is 400 barrels worth.
Okay, so it's not actually the...
It's not what we would think of as
That's actually
in
really
kilos.
interesting.
Yes. Let's head down to the main deck.
Do you know the height of the mast here?
It's plus 30 meters. I think it's around 34 meters from water level. When the ship was built, the mast was originally a lot higher. They had to take 8 meters off the top of it because of restrictions of bridges that the ship had to go under.
So it would have been 43 meters.
It was a lot taller. Yes.
Wow.
If you want, we can go to the noble area.
Let's go to the noble area.
This is the place where, back in the day, officers would have lived. So this is officers of the watch, a lot of the time bosuns. Very important post on board was actually the person in charge of keeping watch on the hold. And their only job was to be like a security guard for the stuff they were carrying in the hold, because it was gold, silver and spices.
Exactly.
And you would have like between 150 or 200 rowdy sailors on board.
Who might be pirates in disguise.
Absolutely.
I am a pirate.
This is a representation of what it would have looked like back in the day, a cabin. For one of the officers.
I have to say it's pretty cozy, big enough.
It's a lot nicer than what the average sailor would have had.
And this is just a big teacup, right?
That's actually
tries.
a pot for going to the bathroom.
For both?
These ships were commissioned by fairly rich noble people who did it like a business venture. So they were merchants. Not necessarily all of them sailors or people to do with the sea and ships. So it could well be just a noble person's room who had paid for the building of the ship, and it was his investment. And a lot of people went up to sort of set up shop to the United States or Manila, Philippines.
Would he have to clean his own pot?
Probably not, actually. Probably not. They used to bring families, slaves, servants, their animals, all sorts. This is the Admiralty
The
room.
Admiral room.
Yes, and this is.
And
where-
I read that everything we get to see here is a one-to-one sort of replica on how it would look like. And I have to say, it's pretty modern considering this is from the 15th century.
We keep
Right?
it fairly clean. I mean, we do have little details like, you know, the lights and the glass obviously is a lot better quality, and fire detector, which is not 16th century. But in general, the furniture was made by hand by a guy also from Seville. I seem to remember. And they're made off drawings of furniture of the day.
Well, he's did a good job, huh?
A lot of attention to detail there. Yeah.
Is this the room where you guys party when no one's around?
What will we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning?
Get down in the car.
Absolutely. No, we have this off limits, and sometimes we do have little meetings here.
Ah, so only business stuff.
Yeah, the sort of the people that run the ship.
That's not what Lupo told me off camera.
Absolutely.
What's next on today's?
Moving on, where we can head up
Adventure.
is up here to the main bridge, commanding bridge, and where the captain would stay, where we have the helm, and all sorts of interesting navigational equipment. So
Let's check
have
it
a look
out.
at that. While we're sailing, this is where the watch happens. So the way we work it out is
It's not like the watch in Games of Thrones.
Still night's watch.
no. The watch is the three parts that we divide the crew into. So we usually have between 25 and 30 crew on board to sail.
Wow.
So we can have sort of between 8 and 10 people on each watch, and that makes 3 watches. These 3 watches will be working for 4 hours and resting for 8 hours. And this is where those 8 or 10 people spend their time on the lookout, checking the AIS systems, which we'll have a look at now.
Yeah.
Not to crash into any ships, just making sure that the ship goes where we want to go and that nothing catastrophic happens to us on the way.
So,
This is actually the helm.
the helm.
Yes.
And this is a functioning helm.
This is a functioning helm. It's a little bit tricked out.
May I move it?
Yes.
Oh.
Back in the day, it would have been pulley operated, so it would have had ropes wrapped around.
Pulley operated.
You would have a pulley system
Yeah, a
with
pulley
ropes
system.
that turn the main tiller.
Yes.
Nowadays, we do a little bit of cheating, and we actually have a hydraulic system on it,
Yeah.
mainly for ease, because it would, in high seas, it would take 2 or 3 people to actually operate this, and the ropes have the nasty habit of breaking.
They snap, probably.
Yes. So.
Talking about cheating,
Yes.
can I spoil it?
Yes.
Sorry, guys. What is this? This looks way too technological and
This-
new age.
This is actually the throttle and the clutch for our 2 main engines, which we have down in the engine room. We'll have a look at them now.
Sweet.
And yeah, this is where all the handling happens. And when we're actually pulling into port, it's fairly interesting to watch the captains, the way
they're probably maneuvering it inch by inch.
They get pretty intense on their pulling into port. Up here, this is the mizzen mast, main mast, and the foremast. This one here, you might notice, is fairly different to the main mast.
It's also slightly angled, isn't
It's
it?
slightly angled, and it's
Angles.
pointing in the other direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is?
This sail is actually not one which would have been used so much to sail the ship forwards as much as the main ones, and it's much more to stabilize the ship. And back in the day, it would be actually used as a help, as an aid to the rudder. So
Okay.
this gets kind of.
So this is, okay, I understand. So just to simplify it, see if I understood it. The front masts are the ones that pull the ship. This one is the one that helps it maneuver alongside the rudder.
Exactly, it helps the rudder because, as I said, back in the day, the rudder would have been. It's a help, but it's not totally reliable, and it's very good to have it assisted by something else. In this case, it's this sail here, which points the ship into the wind, basically. So it's like a wind rudder, let's say.
All right, and you would have the captain go, ahoy!
Absolutely. You might notice that
Scavenge!
the visibility is terrible here. So there would have been a lot of shouting
Yeah.
going on.
Kudos!
Let's head up.
This would be?
This is what they call the poop deck.
Say what?
That's the toilet.
Popus. It comes from popus, which
Popus,
is
a Greek word which means?
a Greek word which means the back of something or the rear end.
Okay.
And actually, if you think about it, these ships would always sail with the wind heading forwards.
Got it.
So if you went to the toilet here, everyone would be fairly annoyed at the front of the ship.
But at least the wind would carry the stench away from them.
No. On the contrary, the wind
Oh yeah, true.
goes forward.
Duh.
Yeah.
What are you, stupid?
This is what they call the fanal
Fanal.
in Spanish.
It looks like a
And
big lamp.
It's basically a big lamp. They would have used for signaling back in the day.
Yeah.
Because again, they didn't have walkie-talkies, radios, and all the communication was done with flags during the daytime, and at night with either cannon shots or a fanal like this.
A fanal. So this would be kind of like sending Morse code.
A kind of Morse code mixed in with a cannonade Morse code, which would have just been a series of bangs, like one shot or two shots,
Yeah.
which they would have agreed on before.
My question, I've seen in a video, I think we will also drop it into the tour, where you hoist one of the biggest Spanish flags I've ever seen, especially when upon
Yes.
arrival to the ports. Do you know how big that flag is? Because it looks humongous.
It's
not this one.
We had it up actually yesterday.
Do you know the square meter size?
The square, I'm not sure, I can't tell you a fixed number, but I know it comes down to here.
Okay, so at least 10 meters in width.
I'd say it's probably 4 meters wide and about, 8 or 10 meters across, absolutely.
Lupo, by the way, is half Spanish, so whenever he sees the Spanish flag, especially coming to the home port, which is Malaga for you,
Absolutely, this is home for
must
me,
be
yes.
a good feeling.
Very happy to
Last
be here.
time Lupo left this port, he had hair on his head, but not on his face, and now
Absolutely.
it's the contrary.
It's gone from the top down.
Patrick, do you see the depth and the dimensions from there? How beautiful it looks. It's like a organized mess of rope and cables, but everything follows a structure.
It's good that you said it. It's an organized mess.
Yes, that's how we like it. Organized mess.
And I think you should go to the top of one of the masts. I think it should be done, right?
I agree, I totally agree.
You guys 2 against 1 now, or what is this?
This is where we have all our navigation equipment. Apart from that, also where the captain sleeps and the first mate also sleeps.
First mate, do you think we can get a peek into how the captain sleeps?
Let's have a look at the captain's room.
So the captain sleeps here. It doesn't look too bad. So he's got a window, so natural light flooding the area.
Not too bad, not too
too
bad.
bad.
This is where the ship is actually sailed from, and where during the watch, every hour the logbook is filled in with all information of where the ship is, where we're heading. And also, we're a school ship, so we have students on board which are learning how to be an officer at sea, how to be a sailor.
All right, is that part of the volunteer course?
There's 2 parts to the ship, which is a volunteer, which has nothing to do with the sea, which you can just volunteer randomly, and there's plenty of other jobs to do.
Link in description.
Yes, and apart from that, the students, which actually do their days at sea here with us, and they learn how to use all this equipment.
And then they get a proper license.
Yes, absolutely.
It's very dark below deck as well. So coming out when the sun is greeting you, especially the Costa del Sol sun, is just a marvelous thing.
That's actually another interesting detail. A lot of people think pirates used to wear an eye patch because they'd lost an eye. And it's actually because they would go down below decks, and to keep their night vision, they would always keep one eye covered.
You're kidding.
Absolutely, no, it's true.
Wow.
Yes,
All right,
yes, yes.
that's a pretty cool fun fact. I never knew about it.
So if they had to run down below to grab some gunpowder or
Yeah,
to
they
grab
could
something,
just
they just
open
lift
a-
up the eye patch and they'd have instant night vision. Yeah.
Wow.
Because their eye was used to it.
You always learn something new.
Yeah. Before we head down below decks,
Which would be here.
which would be down here, we can have a just quick look in the mess hall, kitchen.
All
we
right.
have some of the
Another
crew.
cramped room, guys. Let's go.
Yes. Watch the heads, watch the heads.
So this is the
Resting.
kitchen area. Can I pop in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have one designated cook that takes care of everything?
No, we actually take it in turns to cook.
So everyone can cook well.
Everyone gets to cook, and a lot of the time with some help and instructions. And
I bet you have someone who's like a really bad cook, and you're always like, no.
absolutely, and then there's in both directions. There's also the people that say, yes, it's so and so cooking today.
Oh, it's Jason
So,
cooking. Yes.
yes.
Falafels. How's the coffee on board? That's a very important question.
Also varies a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on.
That means it's
Over here is a small sort of office area that we have for the running of the ship. My own little office area,
Right,
chief
sweet.
engineer, bosun, and first mate. We'll have all our sort of junk, daily junk there.
all right.
And
And the bathroom's very
the
close.
bathrooms just here.
All right, look, toilet looks sorted. Privacy is a bit of an issue,
We all
but I
end up.
guess it is a continuous issue throughout, no?
Well, it's one of those things where we'll sort of just get used to each other in the end, and we end up being a large family. And yeah,
That's cute.
there's not much to do in that area.
Yeah, and you need to latch all these doors
Yes,
once you
always.
go on.
And there's
Voyage.
a latch on the inside and on the outside, because with movement, you have to take into account the movement
Yeah.
here. It gets fairly crazy.
And then you have sinks with dual tap systems. Does that mean hot and cold?
No, it's actually salt water and fresh water.
I washed my hands with salt water then.
Out the front here, the cut water.
Can I step through?
Absolutely, yes. Oh my God, no. This is where the head would have been actually back in the day. So the toilets, they would have just had basically holes here.
Yeah, you would squat.
Absolutely.
What is this open latch and where does it lead to?
Paint storage, paint brushes, chemical products, all sorts of bosun related activity.
It makes me feel like I'm in Lost and I'm going down the hatch. See you in another life, brother. I have to say the smell in here is pretty intense.
Very strong. Yeah, we have the ventilation on here, and apart from that, we always keep the hatch open. But even so, yeah, the amount of paint and solvent down here is just sort of come down, grab what you need, and
I like
get
that
out.
smell. You know, guys, sometimes it's like the people who like to smell petrol, or gasoline.
This is where you can see where the bowsprit comes down into the ship, all the way down. And here we keep sort of spare ropes for climbing, harnesses and climbing equipment. Paella pan, very
Hey!
important. Main feature of the ship,
Of
being a
course.
Spanish ship and traveling around the world.
But who makes the best paella on the ship? Is that you?
No, unfortunately not. I'm terrible at making paella. But depending on who's
Patrick's
here.
actually a really good paella maker.
Really? Well, we're gonna have to
We
write
make it
that
on
down.
an open fire cook
Nice.
sessions. And down here is where you keep the naughty volunteers,
Yes.
right? Is Jackson still down there? Jackson! Nah. And off he goes. Daylight, sunshine, warmth. What a beauty it is to come out of a dark hole like that. It's like being reborn. Right, let's continue. Jump back in.
Let's head down into the bowels of the ship now. Gun deck is the
Gun
main
deck,
down
yes.
here.
Do that. You have to be very careful with your head, Patrick. Can't allow yourself more banging on it. You
This
already
is-
hit his head 2 times.
This is one of the main attractions of the ship, and especially
Right, let's just make a quick distinction. So we are showing you guys the whole ship, but obviously if you come to the museum part, that's only going to be a selected section you get to see, and this is one of them.
this is one of them. Absolutely.
Okay, so walk us through it. Tell us what's happening here.
Here we have this set up right now as a sort of a representation of what the gun deck would have looked like back in the day. So cannons, spare pieces of rope.
So I read that galleons would travel in fleets of like 200-300 of them.
Those were the largest ones. Usually the average was between 60, 100, 100 and
You would
something.
have hundreds of these ships
Yes.
crossing together.
Yes, their main sort of way of defending themselves was in numbers. So they sort of all herd together in a convoy.
Yeah.
And apart from that, they would have what they'd call Galeón de Armada.
Okay, so like special ships just with
exactly.
weapons for defense.
Exactly, militarized ships with a lot more guns and would follow them and sort of keep watch along the outside.
All right, cool. So that's what we get to see here.
Nice little swinging tables.
Is that bread very ancient, huh?
Very, very ancient. I think that one's varnished, I think.
It does say do not touch, and I just touched it.
We actually get a lot of people coming through here sometimes, so that's why we have a lot of the areas cordoned off, and we have, the don't touch. Because yesterday, for example, we had over 1,000 people
What?
come through the decks, yeah.
Jesus,
More than
1,000
1,000
people.
Yeah. One of the main jobs while we're open as a museum of all the crew members is to actually keep watch on the museum and stop people
So
from...
people don't steal guns and cannons and,
Literally.
and the fake gold coins that maybe we should have a quick look
Let's
at.
have a look, yeah. Well, down here, before we move on, another capstan, like the one up the top.
Not a capstan. By the way, guys, real quick, if you want to check out their Instagram, this is the tag, Galeón Andalucía. They have some really cool posts post some nice stories of how it actually is to be on a voyage, etc. Definitely worth a look. Yeah, Patrick, peek in here because this is kind of the merchandise they would be
Carrying, absolutely.
carrying. Yeah.
Yeah, they would carry gold, silver, spices. A lot of the time they would also carry silk. And one of the least known things that they would carry was actually wood. Teak wood, which... Teak
wood.
Which comes from Southeast Asia, and it's one of the hardest woods that one can find. Very sought after for shipbuilding. And when you think about it, they would go and fell teak wood in Southeast Asia, bring it all across the Pacific Ocean,
Yeah.
get to Panama, cross it through the jungle on donkeys, bring it across the Atlantic, again on ships, get to Seville, and build another ship to go all the way back and bring more things.
Did you guys hear that?
So it was
It's not as nice as sitting on your couch, watching Netflix, going on Amazon and ordering something with Prime and having it delivered a day later to your doorstep.
Or
Welcome
worse,
to the 21st century. Yeah, or to the Temu version. What you cannot get on Temu are these diesel engines that I'm dying to see. So shall we go down another
Let's
latch?
head down and have a look.
We are in the engine room. And you can already smell engine room. I hope that makes sense for you guys. I'm sure it does. It smells like diesel. It smells like oil. And it smells like a big man climbing down the stairs. This is a diesel engine.
These are around roughly 500 horsepower, 400 and a bit horsepower each. So we have around 900 horsepower.
Because you have two diesel
total?
engines.
Yeah.
What is this then?
Electricity generator. So this is
Also runs on diesel.
also diesel generator.
What's the fuel tank capacity for the diesel tank?
We have 40,000 litres of fuel on board. So it was thought out to be able to make whole ocean crossings
In one go.
in one go. If we have a catastrophic failure with the sails or the wind dies on us, we
Yeah.
can still make the crossing just on engine power. So it's sort of a safety feature practically to carry so much fuel on board just in case.
Of course.
So we can keep going always.
What do we unscrew here?
These are actually the main things not to unscrew. This is the bottom sea intakes. This is what lets water in to cool the engines
So
for
if
the
I
cooling system.
unlatch it, it would...
The chief engineer probably won't be very happy. It will bring seawater into the engines.
Okay, let's not
And
do that.
they're closed off now. Yeah, another engine here, bilge separator, second generator. So we switch between one and another while we're sailing, and we always have a backup one because running out of electricity because of a failure will be terrible.
I love this. If you run out of electricity or a pipe breaks and chaos breaks out, you have a nice little setup here explaining what to do. Cerrar completamente la entrada al tanque del servicio diario. Do it now! What does it mean?
Lots
Crazy.
of valves everywhere.
Yeah.
and-
You know, I'm always very tempted. I'm an organic lab tech. I like touching things and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was going to say I like screwing things, but I like unscrewing things, touching buttons and
There's
opening valves. And
Plenty of that to do down here, absolutely.
Well, it's very clean and well disguised. I would have never thought to see something like this under here. So
it does look
kudos, it's pretty nice.
very modern.
And clean. So,
Yes, yes.
you know, good job. Where's this gentleman? The
Diego over here.
chef engineer.
Yeah.
Good job,
The
good
guy
job.
in here?
He's hiding. He's a bit camera shy, but yeah.
And fast because he was gone.
He likes to spend his day down here hiding, painting things, polishing things.
I mean, it really, good job. Very
Yeah.
nice. What is this metal ball? It's a pressure.
That's to maintain the pressure for the. It's called a hydrophore, and that's what keeps the pressure up.
Super.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite places on the ship actually, as an engineer.
I could spend hours here, just kind of fiddling around with. I mean, not fiddling, but like working on something, cleaning something.
I love it. I love
checking
it. Yeah.
all the gauges. I like that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
a submarine where you have the
It kind of
the
is.
main heart of the submarine. You have all the lights flickering and things happening.
Down here, we're actually below the water level. So,
Yeah.
so when we're sailing and when we're moving along, you can hear the water along the sides of the ship. When we cut the engines and we're doing on sail power and we're down here, you can hear the water sloshing against the ship, and it really is like being in
pretty
a
cool.
submarine. Very nice down here.
Pretty cool.
The captain emerging.
Ahoy. Well, what would you say?
Ahoy, ahoy. Yeah, that's right.
That's also Slovak for hello.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they go, ahoy.
There you go. Right, in here we need to whisper a little bit because there are always people sleeping and resting and whatnot. But we can
This
have a
time
look
of the
around whispering.
day? Sleeping.
Yeah, sailors are lazy buggers, I'll tell you that.
Sailors are lazy. I'm sure they're gonna love hearing that watching the video. Okay, so this is like one side of the bunk beds.
Exactly, we have two passages that are the same. So there's basically another one on the port side, pretty much the same as this one. We can fit 14 on this side and 16 in the other.
Yeah.
So yeah, 30 something people down here.
So how many people come here single and then after the voyage are in a relationship with your next door sleeping partner?
A lot, actually.
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
The intimacy you experience here, that friendship, the bond, not only when it comes to working together, but also forming that sort of after-work relationship must be really cool.
Absolutely, and going through, you know, living all these experiences and going through all the things that the ship offers together, and yeah, brings people really close together.
There's a guy snoring there.
Someone sleeping, yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
cool. And then you can, for more privacy, close the curtain.
And the space is fairly limited, so you have one of these drawers per person, so one's the bottom one, one's the top one, and then you have just the space that you can see there to put your things. So also very minimalist, sets of clothes and things.
Mattress seems fairly comfortable. Oh, it does. I was okay.
It's all right. It's not too bad. I spent 10 months sleeping on board sailing without getting off, and you get used to it in the end, and it just becomes like home. Right?
And Lupo seems fine.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Off camera, he's a bit
Skittish.
skittish. Get me out of here.
Yeah.
All right. Another hidden chamber.
Yes. This is where we do.
Do we still need to whisper?
No, not really.
Okay.
It's just sort of get used to it. It's like the hunching down. I walk around like this on the dock. This is where we tie all the mooring lines. We make them fast on here.
Usually they're outside on the boat, right? Or do they always come in?
No, they always come in.
Uh-huh.
This we have it all painted and fiberglass just for the sake of working, but on the original ships it would have been fairly similar to this. And
You have some. Oh, what is this?
this is a hydraulic capstan, which we use when there's bad weather or there's wind that's blowing us away from the dock. Then we just put the ropes on here, wind them round, and it starts turning, and we can pull the ship in.
All right,
But
cool.
usually we do all the hauling on the lines by hand, because it's also a part of the learning process for the students.
Yeah.
And it will look basically something like this, which is you just grab on, put your feet there, and it slowly pulls the ship in. You see how it comes towards me?
Yeah.
And then now it's slack.
Yeah.
And then the wind will probably pull it away again. And when you get 4 or 5 people doing that same thing, you can just pull the ship straight into the dock. Yeah.
You get to see the thickness of the rope. We're talking about some dinkum rope here.
Yeah, yeah. Very, very thick rope.
And
You-
those are like little gun loopholes
That's
where you shoot the pirates off.
where the rope goes out on the other side, the same as this one. And actually, now you mentioned about the rope, they're very thick, but some of the storms that we've been through and bad weather in ports, these snap like
These
twigs. Yeah.
Thick ones snap like twigs.
We had 2 years ago there was a port where we snapped at least 4 or 5 of them.
Jesus.
Yeah, yeah.
Once it snapped, it didn't hurt anyone, right?
No. When there's bad weather and things like that going on, we keep clear of this area. That's one of the most important areas of the ship.
Is it
if you
really?
ask me. It's the pantry where we keep all the food
Let's have a look.
and cleaning products.
Let's see,
but
Patrick, if they have
especially
enough food for you and whether it is within your taste. When Patrick doesn't eat, he gets cranky.
He should be fine here.
That's when cabin fever starts.
Yeah, that's when the cabin fever starts.
This looks like a prepper's basement, to be honest. One that, you know, prep for war or cataclysmic events, right? You've got enough food here, but it doesn't. Enough food to last you for how long?
This food will last about 2 weeks, maybe 10 days on board.
Why it makes so much noise, the floor? So that no one can secretly come in here and steal food.
That's actually...
You can hear them walk here. So no one can, you know, at night come in here and grab some cookies.
We actually have a person that's in charge of the pantry, and he's the one that keeps watch and makes sure to come down and bring up the supplies for the next day.
Where's the rum?
The rum? No rum, no rum.
Why is the rum gone?
In here we have
You'll show us later.
freezer, so main freezer for all meat and fish that we use. We're gonna actually have to do a shop tomorrow. This is pretty much empty, even though it looks like there's a lot of food for a normal household.
And you're going to...
Very important job, even though it's not taken very much into account. But the person that takes care of this, which is two people, one per watch, and making sure, obviously, no one takes any drinks or takes any cookies, or like we have usually everyone drinks water on board all the time,
Yeah.
except for Sundays, and we have Coca-Cola. But take into account that some people like chocolate biscuits is something that is loved
That's
on
like
board.
a high trade.
Absolutely, and we have 3 packets a day, and that's it for
You have to
everyone.
ration it all.
When I do the shopping, which is one of my jobs, I go and buy like 18 or 20 packets of biscuits for 1 week. And sometimes there's weeks that I'm like, there's no biscuits, so now there's no biscuits for these 2 days.
There's a cookie monster on board.
There are lots of Cookie Monsters on board.
That's what I mean, guys.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get it?
It's no coincidence at all.
Especially on this first steps, when you crawl down here and you're like, I'm gonna get a cookie. Who's down there? Come on. Do you ration the toilet paper too?
No,
That sounds like a lot of work. Very good organization and a structure that you must follow to ensure insanity isn't something that would happen here. Right? Because I'm pretty sure people can get a bit of
well,
craziness.
they just get sort of a bit ratty, but the good thing is, the positive side is that the sailing that we do is usually 3-4 days, 5 at most, and then we'll be into port. They have 2 days on and 2 days off as a volunteer.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're still traveling around Europe. You get 2 days off to explore cities like Malaga right now.
Yeah.
And people in general, they're pretty cool. And
But you know what? I think it's building character, and it's something that when you go on this
Absolutely.
kind of experience, you want to build your character, you want to experience these things, you want to be part of a crew.
Exactly.
You want to be told what to do, you want to be efficient, everything that makes you a better person.
Absolutely. I
In
mean,
the long run.
it builds a lot of character being on here, and also learning to live with other people, deal
Yeah.
with other people, understand their problems, understand how things happen in other people's minds. Camera shy. So yeah, it's a really good life experience, really, for anyone, even if you're not related to the sea at all.
Cool. I would love to do it one day. How can I imagine an evening once the museum closes, or you're actually sailing in the evening? Do you guys gather together, play the guitar, sing songs?
Hey, and up she rises, way, hey, and up she rises.
Yeah, we do have actually two guitars on board, and there's a lot of people that like to play it, and they're pretty good.
Are you the singer?
No, not at all. But it's very different. The life at sea while we're sailing, and the watches in sailing is very different from the daily watch in the museum. So very different days as far as you know how you live it as a sailor.
Got it. Now this is the cargo space, right?
Yep.
This is where before the ships would hold usually food and merchandise stored in dozens of barrels, bundles and drawers, making the environment unbreathable. For this reason, life on board was carried out on the ship's deck. Daily work was divided into 6 shifts, and only the meals broke the routine.
This part's also open to the public, so it's one of the areas that people can come and visit on board. So we have it set up a bit representing what the hold would have looked like in a ship of the day.
Cool.
Yeah, carrying, as you said, spices, gold, silver.
Would you have animals here too?
They would have had animals, especially cows, horses, or chickens.
Do you have any chickens on board?
No animals on board at all, or plants for that matter.
No
So a lot of
plants,
people-
no animals. Got it.
One of the problems that all that sort of brings about is insects.
Yeah.
And being a wooden ship, something we have to be very careful about is insects, woodworm, all kinds of little, you know, plagues that might come across and start damaging the wood of the ship.
Of course.
Let's have a look down here. Oh, passing through here.
Ooh, sweet.
Yep, this is carpentry area of the ship. So we keep all
probably
our
a very, very important place, huh?
very, very
So you have
important place.
ongoing things. This is like a constant work.
Maintenance never stops on this ship, and power tools, hand tools, and a lot of safety equipment over here, because again, a lot of the people that we do receive on board aren't necessarily carpenters a lot of the time, or have any sort of experience in working. So we sort of guide them into using tools bit by bit and seeing what anyone's good at. So that's another aspect that people get to learn, very good life skills as far as, you know, using tools, working wood, working epoxies and fiberglass. One can learn a whole range of
So the experience is basically unfathomable.
It's
right. The range is insane.
Absolutely, the range, like, as you say, the range is so large. I've seen people come here that have been afraid of heights and ended up, you know, they'll climb up 2 rungs and then another 2 rungs, and they've ended up climbing all the way up on the sails. And you're like, you know, I thought you were afraid of heights, but they, you know.
Yeah, it comes back to what I said earlier. It's character building.
One evolves as a person a lot and learns a whole set of skills on one of these ships. So.
I said it many times, guys. If you're interested to be a volunteer, in the description we left you the link to inform yourself on more information. Here we have, what is it?
The main fuel tanks.
Oh, again with the safety floor.
Yes. So diesel fuel tanks.
This is where the 40,000 liters go in?
Yeah, all the way along. So there's 3 main tanks on this side and 3 on the other side. And this is where we get the fuel for the engine room from.
Can we go all the way to the end? Is there something
to look at? Freshwater tank. Ventilation, obviously, for all this area here in the hold.
Yeah.
And this is a dead end. So we come here, check the water levels, make sure everything's all right. While we're sailing, actually, one of the jobs that we do is to go around making safety checks all the time around the whole ship. Yeah. Every hour or every 2 hours, we lift up all these steel plaques, check that there's no water coming in, check there's no fuel leaks. So that's another very important aspect of sailing, is safety checks, making sure that everything's in order on the ship. And that's pretty much all there is to the bottom of the ship, the holds. And if you like, I seem to remember, you said you might climb up the rigging. So I think we can...
Another one with a good memory. That's good. Yeah, why not? Why not? We're gonna be climbing the rigging now, something I did not want to do, but obviously I'm forced to by 2 men here, so I'm just gonna do it. I'm not afraid of heights, just a bit of a lazy fella.
And this, I'm gonna show you how to wrap it around now. We wrap it around the safety line in a certain way that this is where we hook ourselves on, and if we were to fall or anything to happen, this locks.
So this is supposed to hold my weight?
Yeah, it will hold your weight. This combined with another one onto the main one, so you always have 2 points of safety. But this is the one that moves up along and is permanent.
Got it.
Okay?
All right.
Tommy doesn't look too sure.
I keep saying I got it, but I'm not sure if I do. It's very wobbly up here, that's for sure. So I am doing all the security measurements and I'm checking them 2 times just to make sure I am not missing out on something, because if you miss out, it's not fun. You got quite a drop, but I guess if I fall in the water, I'll be alive. And if I drop my phone, that would be it. So I'm gonna put it safely back in my pocket. So we are on top of the nest here, and I have to say it's pretty damn awesome. The view definitely was worth the hike up, the trail up on the ropes, which was an adventure itself. But right now I get to look down. I have an eagle's eye perspective of things, and I just think in the 300 years ago you would have a sailor or commander up here and he would be looking, where's the land? This is my view. That's my brother down there. The fall is quite deep. The ship is now filling up with tourists who would like to look at the museum. And here we have the best tour guide we had on a ship so far.
Thank you.
Tell us, how often do you come up here?
Right now, in the job I'm doing now, not so often. I'd like to come up more, but when I was sailing here as a deckhand, it was pretty much daily. I'd climb all up around here to paint, to grease all the pulleys we have, open the sails, and I've actually been up on these lines up here that you can see on the very top. They all need greasing and oiling too, and those pulleys that you have right there in the middle.
Yeah.
I've had to be all around all this rigging, so I like it very much. I miss it.
Crazy. Just see how far down it goes from here. All right, guys, we've come to the end. We've climbed the mast. We've showed you everything on the ship, even the smallest little details. And because of our greatest tour guide here, we got to know a lot of finer details, which you don't really get to experience once you're here just for an hour, but the whole experience of being a volunteer. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time. It's been a real pleasure, and all the best.
Thank you for coming. Pleasure having you here.
Bon voyage for the next journey, right?
Thank you.
See you guys in the next video.
Bye-bye.